is what we call
hater shit.
There is no better term.
Good afternoon, you guys. I just wanted to give everyone an update. For everyone who has been here with me, I've had Facebook the longest out of all my social media platforms. I've had 5 or 6 different Instagrams, maybe even more than that, just in the last 4 years. And the reason for that is because beginning in 2020, my life took kind of a drastic and sudden change. Anyone who knows me knows that since the day my children were born, they've been my first priority always. When Viviana was little and Lewis were little, anyone who knows me knows that since the day my children were born, they've been my first priority always. When Viviana was little and Lewis were little, I kind of worked whatever job I could get, and I went full-time into school and work. So I would be with the kids at school or at work, and that was my life. By the time Alexis was born in 2013, I kind of reached a point in my education where I could take what I learned and apply it to get a career, like a career type job, not just like a, intermediate, I need money now type job. And at that time I was hired at Northwestern Hospital, the downtown Chicago campus, 676 North St. Clair. And I worked there for approximately 6 years. And I worked there with, whether it was CLISMA at the time or Northwestern or Northwestern Medical Faculty Foundation. I worked there with I say 40 doctors because the way that the practice was set up, there was the floor I worked, which was the 20th floor, and then the 23rd floor was a group of internists. And on the 20th floor, all of the specialists worked there. So you had dermatology, neurology, gastroenterology, and then you had rheumatology, endocrinology, and then you had gastroenterology, neurology, dermatology. The only specialty that didn't work on floor 20 was cardiology, which was on floor 23, and then all of those internists. And each specialty had approximately 2 to 4 doctors in that specialty. And we all were in one big office. And I was trained to cover for any of those doctors, administrative assistants or clinical assistants. So I was doing things like injections, triaging, vital signs, everything but drawing blood. So literally everything but drawing blood at Northwestern. I drew blood at other places, Alexian Brothers, outpatient clinic that I was working at for Gottlieb, and a couple of other clinics. But for the most part, I was doing administrative function and executive calendar management, scheduling, insurance verification, charting, auditing charts, helping doctors merge from paper charts to electronic medical records and things of that nature. So again, the big kids, I was working in factories, I was going to school, I was working retail, I was working food service. Then Alexis was born. I got the job at Northwestern about 4 years before she was born, maybe 5. And I kind of just worked and worked and worked and worked. And I was working more, than your standard 40-hour work week. And in doing so, I gained a lot of really valuable experience. But I also, was not able, I missed out on a lot of the time that I was able to spend with my children as babies. And my kids were little only once, as all children are, only little once. And so that is something that I look back on and really wish that I could have spent more time with them when they were little rather than working. But I also understand human need and necessity and the need to work and pay bills, etc., and so forth. When Weston was born, now understand my life was very normal, and by normal I mean work.
She's trying to block Xavier.
In 2015, after several years working at Northwestern Hospital, Alexis was about 18 months old, and I quit my job at Northwestern.
Why?
I quit my job pretty abruptly.
Why?
I would not say it was an impulsive decision. I was complaining about my job to my father for a really long time. I felt like I had put forth an extensive amount of effort that was not even really required to get the job done. I felt like in comparison to other medical staff and, medical administrators and administrative assistants and even executives at the level that I was working, I was getting paid. I felt like I was getting cheated. I would stay sometimes 60 hours a week, 20 hours off the clock because Northwestern didn't authorize overtime.
Oh, hell no.
And I didn't feel like what I was getting paid 4 years in, 5 years in, 3 years in was enough compared to what I started at. So I really truly believed in myself, and I felt like I could find something better.
Well,
Better for my family, less hours with the same amount of money, etc. and so forth. So I left Northwestern and I got a job in bottle service. And I got another job as a optical manager, office manager. So I was doing full-time optical office manager. I was prepping to compete in the NPC bodybuilding. So I was weightlifting. I was being a mom to all three of my children. I had my own apartment, me and my kids. And my kids went to their father's houses on the weekends. And when I started working bottle service in 2015 as a second job, I never thought that it would low-key, be the start of the end, my sense of normalcy. I thought that it would always be just something to get me by and extra money. And it just didn't turn out to be that way for me. For me, it was an entry to a lifestyle that I was not comfortable living and that I couldn't even relate with or navigate. It was just I opened up a portal to this world that I never even knew existed, and it was exciting but also incredibly terrifying.
You loved it.
Long story short, did not have the tools that I needed to protect myself from the, I don't want to call them monsters, but there are just people who survive by taking advantage of others. That's what brought me to where I am in GoPro Solo. So the reason why I feel like it's essential that I continue to share this part of my story is because if you're like you or me, I grew up in Elmhurst, so western suburbs. I moved to the city very, very early. I moved to Melrose Park, Franklin Park at 18 years old, 17 years old. And then I moved to the city at 23. So I'm 37 now. So I've been a Chicago girl my whole life. But in Elmhurst and in the western suburbs, I was never exposed to this type of person. I was never exposed to someone who will predatorily take advantage of you or me, or put drugs or alcohol in your, food or beverage without you knowing, or, come to your house and steal from you, or, rob you, or steal all your clothing, or, lie on official documents about you. I never even knew to protect myself from that because I never knew that it was a threat. And in working bottle service, I was definitely exposed to a lot of that. And also a lot of really nice people, who I really care about and formed really, really great relationships with, and who looked out for me and I looked out for them. So it was kind of a mix of both, but it threw my life off course in a way that I never expected. And it's also when and where I met my significant other of nearly 5 years, a little under, who ended up coercing and kind of exploiting my love for him in many, many ways, which I'll discuss in detail in my novel. But for the purpose of this live, it's not really prudent. Just know that for love, I would have hurtled my body off of a building because I thought that I had met this man, a trust fund person who...
A trust fund person. And y'all, Xavier's right behind her. Right behind her. He's going to snap one day. He's either going to snap and go crazy on you, or he's going to open up his eyes and be like, I'm going to get sober and I'm going to get right. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to have a better life. Bye, bitch.
Thought that I had met this man, a trust fund person, who was going to buy my children and I a beautiful home. And all of the hard work I had been doing and going to school full time and working full time and being a mom, part time, because let's just be honest, if you're
So you've always been a grifter, pretty much. You got with this man because you thought he was going to get you a house. Why can't you be a single, independent person, and then whenever, the man comes, then the right man comes? But you got to do you and take care of you and your kids by your damn self. I hate that about fucking people. Why you dependent on another person to do what you need to do? You're a mom, right? Those are your babies, right? You do anything for them, right? Then do it then.
because I thought that I had met this man, a trust fund person, who was going to buy my children and I a beautiful home, and all of the hard work I had been doing and going to school full time and working full time and being a mom, part time, because
What?
let's just be honest, if you're a full time working mother, you're a part time. If you're a full time employee, you're a part time mother.
Bitch.
You're spending more time with the coworkers that you see on a daily basis than you are with your children. And that devastated me. I wanted nothing more than to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And that was the promise that he, made to me. So I did everything I could to continue that relationship, and it turned out to be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly exploitative and abusive for me. When I tried to end that relationship, I was unlawfully thrown into the street.
I don't want anyone to get offended by what she just said. You can be a full-time mom with a full-time job. What that means is you're a mom full-time. So your kids come first, no matter what. And you're working for your kids. That's part of you being a mom. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm blessed to work from home and take my babies to school, do summer activities with them. I am very blessed for that. But I've also struggled for many years to be able to do that as well. So that really made me mad. I think she just says stuff to hurt other people's feelings, to make herself feel better, and to try to be like, oh no, I don't want to be a part-time mom. If I get a job, then I won't be a full-time mom. I need to be a full-time mom. Like, no, girl, being a full-time mom, you still have a job. You got to do what you got to do to be a fucking mom. Sorry.
Let's just be honest, if you're a full-time working mother, you're a part-time. If you're a full-time employee, you're a part-time mother. You're spending more time with the coworkers that you see on a daily basis than you are with your children. And that devastated me. I wanted nothing more than to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And that was the promise that he, made to me. So I did everything I could to continue that relationship, and it turned out to be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly exploitative and abusive for me. When I tried to end that relationship, I was unlawfully thrown into the street. My apartment that I had and maintained with my children and I for the entire time I was in that relationship was given to this person who, was not a good person. And was not, doing the things that good people do. And I was told, you have to leave. And not only you have to leave, but you can't take your car, and you can come back for it later, and we're not going to leave with any money. We're not going to give you money to leave. Just get out. And it was awful. Like, I didn't have anywhere to go. And I experienced homelessness for the first time in my entire life. And I experienced being sexually assaulted, and I experienced being robbed, and I experienced, a lot of really, really adverse effects. My children, who at the time were 14, 13, and 6, about to be 7, had to go live with their fathers. And they had always lived with me full time and only been with their fathers on weekends. My heart was completely broken and destroyed. Amidst all of this adversity, I was filing police reports regularly and asking people for help, going directly to the state's attorney, asking them for help. And it was amidst this time that I also started realizing, like, is the world taken over? Is the government taken over? Do we even have court anymore? And COVID was a thing, so everything was like court on Zoom only. And I was just freaking out, I would apply to jobs, a million jobs, like, per month, and just to do anything. I would launch these entrepreneurial endeavors that were like various sales endeavors, or like service-based endeavors like personal training, cleaning homes. Amazon was like really growing in size, and I thought to Amazon, I thought I could take advantage of the Amazon influencer platform, because I had grown in working in the night industry. I had grown a tremendous following, something like 50 or 60,000 people just on Instagram alone, and Facebook was something very similar. I had far surpassed the 5,000 friend, limit that we were allotted. And I had numerous fan pages, and I was doing, appearance-based entertainment work. And I just have tried it all. I've done so many things entrepreneurially speaking, like sales and appearances and service-based organization, Amazon influencer, taking care of other people. Pardon me. Cleaning, organizing, gardening, like you name it. Literally, you name it, and I've done it. And it was then that I realized that like something weird was going on, and I still feel that way, that something incredibly weird is going on with the world. I've never been in a space where I couldn't get a job, like as a bartender at the very least. I have excellent articulation skills. I know how to mix a beverage. I have food service industry experience. Whatever it is, I was willing to do it, like any job. I want to be with my children. I am not accustomed to living like in the backseat of my car, and I spent like 40 grand on hotels and Airbnbs in this time. So it's been very, very difficult. I went live here on Facebook while in the midst of all that abuse, right before I got thrown out of my home. So Facebook is really like the best witness that I have is Facebook. I literally went live while someone was attempting to break into my home. I went live a couple of other times while I was being terribly abused. Since the time that all of that took place, not much has changed with regards to stability. I don't want to call it vindication, but like justice, no one from law enforcement that I followed up with. There was Detective James Cleese, who I was following up with as of 2017 or 18, in detail, telling him things that were going on. His mailbox is supposedly full, and as of about a year ago, he stopped being responsive or allowing the messages to come to his inbox. I started receiving that mailer demon alert that comes back when you send an email, and that was 2023. So I lost my point person for who I was dealing with. I was dealing with a Detective Rojas from Lombard, Illinois, with regards to the sexual assault, one of numerous. I was dealing with several officers. I don't know where they're from, somewhere near the Forest Preserve area that separates Chicago from the western suburbs, with regards to Marcy's Law in reporting sexual assaults and things of that nature. I was dealing with Elmhurst Police Station. I was dealing with Barrington Police. And I was tracking like all of these things that were taking place during this time I was being victimized in all of the different jurisdictions. To this day, not a single detective has called me back. To this day, I have been falsely accused of being crazy, of being a liar, of being addicted to substances. I have provided, both publicly as well as privately, to law enforcement, judges, and everyone in between, letters from my own primary care physician, who I've seen for more than 10 years, at least 10 months out of the year. And he writes very clearly, there's nothing wrong with this woman. She's a great mother. I've known her for 10 years. I met Xavier about 2 years ago in the middle of the homelessness. And he approached me and said that he was taking me to a safe house where no one was going to hurt me anymore, that he was going to protect me, and that I was not going to be assaulted anymore. He said that he had a brother who worked for the district attorney's office, and that they were going to help me, reach resolution for everything that had been ongoing. Unfortunately, that has not happened. What did happen is Xavier and I had a baby. His name is Weston. He's 15 weeks old, and unfortunately, I can't go into details about what's going on with him, but quite literally, he is being unlawfully, inhumanely, unconstitutionally, and unethically used as a pawn. It's very sad. It's heartbreaking. I have only been able to see him for 6 hours a week since I gave birth to him. And all of the evidence that I continue to present to the state of Illinois, as well as the federal government, it remains consistent. And it remains truthful, honest, and 100% real. A lot of people have tried to write off my experience as publicity, trying to grow my social media following. You can rest assured that I do not care about social media with regards to growing a following for reasons of vanity. It's never been about that. If I've been trying to grow a following on social media, it's been because I'm trying to use it for business purposes to support my family, or because I'm terrified at the injustice with regards to my case. And by my case, I mean all of the police reports I have filed that I have gone to the state and other local law enforcement for assistance with that have remained unanswered for a period of many years, multiple years. And I think it's also worth mentioning that my ex was involved with something called a proffer, which is a deal between the state of Illinois, their state's attorney, not attorney general. Their attorney, the state's attorney, created a deal for him that he was mixing me in with. I was referred to in the past as residual damage of his deal, of his cases, and I have been relentless at going to the state of Illinois, as well as law enforcement, city of Chicago law enforcement, and surrounding suburbs for assistance in handling the situation and in next steps. When I got pregnant with Weston, Xavier and I were homeless. I was calling the city's 311 department. My vehicle, a Cadillac CTS, had been destroyed. Only months after I made final payment on the vehicle. It was just my vehicle. I didn't share it with anyone. I made every payment myself. And with the exception of a small portion of money for my down payment that I borrowed from a friend, a girlfriend, I paid for every single thing that car needed. Every payment, the insurance, the oil changes. I almost said hot oil treatments, like for hair. The oil treatments, the oil changes. I almost said hot oil treatments, like for hair. The oil treatments, the oil changes. Anything that damaged on it, I replaced it. The tires, I did everything by myself. And 1 month after making final payment, it was stolen from me. And to this day, they say that it was sold at auction. I paid for that vehicle. I paid for that vehicle legally, with money that I earned legally, with money that I have paid taxes on. So I still don't have my vehicle.
It was clean money.
I was denied housing the duration of my pregnancy. My physician has supplied the court and everyone involved with a letter, a testimony, stating that I have been his patient for more than 10 years, that he has seen me at least 10 months on average out of a year, every single month, that he and numerous of his colleagues are well aware that there's nothing wrong with me and that I've never had a substance abuse issue. Yet the United States government is still continuing and blatantly refusing to acknowledge the situation for its validity and its truthfulness and my points for their truthfulness. And when I say I'm brokenhearted to be separated from my family, but I'm even more brokenhearted to learn that the United States of America is willing to look the other way and allow a tax-paying citizen.
How can you be more, I just can't get over that. How can you be more heartbroken over a law or any fucking thing, anything they're doing with the fucking state? How? How could you be more heartbroken than anything other than your kids? That would kill me the most, is my kids. And if God was to, refuse me, that would devastate me. Those are the top two things that I fear in my life, is God and anything with my kids. That is so weird to me that you're more heartbroken about this state. Girl, you down the road, I hope you realize and you're thankful for everyone who's had your kids, and I hope you realize that you would have, and you have, put them in so much danger, Heather. I can't imagine a kid around you. I really can't. As much as I want kids to be with their moms, if their mom's a piece of shit, they're not a mom, they don't need to be with that mom. Hell no. Blood ain't shit. Sorry.
I'm brokenhearted to be separated from my family, but I'm even more brokenhearted to learn that the United States of America is willing to look the other way and allow a tax-paying citizen, any human at all, whether you're a refugee or a natural-born citizen, should not go through what I've gone through. But especially a tax-paying citizen who has been a contributing member of society since her 15th or 14th birthday. I had a work permit for my first job. I was so young. There's no reason at all, none,
for you not to get a job.
Not even half of a reason why my situation should still be ongoing and not resolved. None.
You're fine.
I was doing live FTRs, which I refer to as, and the fact that they're toying with my newborn, it's just wrong. It's wrong, it's illegal, it's unlawful, and no one should have to go through it. So Where I am now, for the record, is that 2 days after my son was born, and I was doing live FTRs, which I refer to as for the record. I was going live every single day on my Instagram and giving updates on the situation of homelessness, what I had done to resolve the situation, who I had called, the city's 311 and other protocols, the harassment and abuse that I had been enduring. I was pretty much giving daily updates. So there's no excuse why law enforcement or another authority would not have a complete picture of what was going on. I was also calling law enforcement directly at least every week, if at the most every other week. At the least every other week, at the most every week. So none of this was a surprise. I was not offered any sort of assistance at all whatsoever. As I said, I was in a tent that was pitched in the parking lot of Belmont Harbor my entire pregnancy, from 28 weeks until I delivered at 40 weeks, 5 days.
Because of you.
I did not have an air mattress or like a, camping mattress, nothing. I was on cement. Any ladies in the crowd who have been pregnant before can tell you pregnancy is uncomfortable to begin with. Being 40 weeks pregnant on cement, begging for help on a daily basis and not being offered any, is something I would wish on no one. My children had to call me every day and check on me. Children, who love their mother, feeling completely powerless, like there was nothing they could do to help the situation. I would try to be in the best of spirits as possible, but I was...
Can you think of, how they feel about they can't do anything about their mom? Not their mom's pregnancy, but the entire life of their mom. They are not going to have, and they never had the mom that they needed and wanted. Do you know how hard that is to accept? That, I can't even imagine. That is so heartbreaking, and I am so happy. They need so much love and just all around them, because you really make me mad. Like how you just drop your kids and then you want to say, oh, they're so important, I would do anything. You wouldn't do shit for them. Sitting here talking about nobody offered me help. Ain't nobody offered a lot of people fucking help, but they got up and they did what they needed to do. I'm sorry, but if you can't even prove to your damn self that you can't take care of yourself while you're pregnant, how the fuck can you take care of the baby? You can't. You can't physically, and you can't emotionally, mentally and spiritually. You can't. You are not ready, and this could have been your other wake-up call, another wake-up call, one wake-up call, but it is not. It's so weird to me how these fucking females have kids after kids after kids, and the kids are everywhere, spread the fuck out, and they don't care. They want to bitch about it, but they don't care enough to actually change the situation. I can't stand little fuckers like that. I'm sorry, but that's just a level of low. I don't expect. I feel like I just need to beat the shit out of someone who would just do that to their kids. I'm sorry. I need to let her play.
Who love their mother, feeling completely powerless, like there was nothing they could do to help the situation. I would try to be in the best of spirits as possible, but I was definitely hurting inside tremendously. As I said, I have been more than a contributing member of society. I have been incredibly kind, incredibly loyal, and incredibly honest. And I have, a lot of references and a lot of people who can back up what I say as being true. Every single piece of evidence that I turn in seems to be disregarded. As a matter of fact, the opinion of up to 15 strangers that call themselves law enforcement members seems to be more important to the powers that be than the testimony of my physician, who's known me for 10 years. So they're taking the word of 15 individuals who have met me each for less than 5 minutes total, and they're examining those people's perspectives with more weight than they are my own doctor. As a matter of fact, they're not even calling on my doctor. So I'm scared. It feels as though my rights have been completely infringed upon. I have been Since I'm not permitted to discuss the details of what's going on, it's been incredibly difficult to reach out through social media and ask for social media assistance, ask for assistance of human rights workers, advocates, lawyers. That's where the most of my support has come from. I've reached out to Lindsay Hendren at Between Friends Chicago. I've reached out to the National Domestic Abuse Hotline. I've reached out to the National Human Sex Trafficking Hotline. I've reached out to RAINN. I've reached out to, the list goes into the 30s or 40s for advocacy groups that I have reached out to, towards law firms that I have reached out to individually. And you guys have been here for what? How long have we been live now? 20 minutes, and I've told you probably like 1/16 of what's going on. Maybe. That's being generous. There has been so much victimization and so much pain, and it's just wrong. Not only that, but they're also, forcing me, and by force, I mean giving me one of two options. Do what we say, or don't have your children and be homeless on the street and not have shelter. So it's extortion. And they're extorting me to now take a drug substance abuse therapy class when I have never had an addiction to chemicals in my entire life. Not to drugs, not to alcohol.
You're such a...
Ever. Nothing even remotely close. So that's the next step for me. But as I said, I wish I could get into details more. If you are, and this is my whole purpose for going live, if you are a lawyer, if you are a human rights advocate, if you are someone who knows me in person, please, 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 please reach out via the private message. Let me know if you know someone who works with human service cases, or human rights cases, or civil rights cases. I have an outstanding amount of proof. I am in no shortage of proof. I am in no shortage of documentation. Please, if you would like to donate money, time, energy, effort, or legal advice, I would be so incredibly grateful. My name is Heather Gillespie. You can always know that it's me based on a couple of tattoos I have on my body. There have been quite a few Heather Gillespies who have seen my situation and opportunistically used it as, some sort of way to raise money and pretended to be me, and then dipped off with the money. No one has formally intervened, and no one has formally approached me and sat down with me and taken my information and assisted me. So the update for where we are now is Xavier and I, 2 days after Weston was born, just as 311 had told me. 311, for anyone who doesn't know, is the city's homeless assistance hotline. So you call 311 if you're experiencing homelessness, and they're supposed to come pick you up from where you are and bring you to housing. We called them every week of the pregnancy. They would say the same thing every single time. We can't help you today, but we will when the baby's born. I literally spent my pregnancy in a tent on the ground during blizzards, during rain. We were flooded out a million times. It was miserable.
But you did nothing about it.
2 days after the baby was born, 311, as they said, came to place the three of us in a family placement. And unfortunately, I was bullied and mistreated, and something, went on, and my son was not permitted to come home with me. And I have been seeing him for 6 hours a week ever since. And I'm told that if I disclose any details, that I will be held in contempt of court. How do I find a lawyer? How do I fundraise? How do I crowdsource funding? It seems incredibly wrong and incredibly corrupt. And I am just praying that by, being transparent and being forthcoming at the surface level that I can with what's going on in the case, one of you will please help me. My son turns 15 weeks. I have done every single thing that's been asked of me. He turns 15 weeks on Monday. Xavier and I have been in housing since he was 2 days old.
That's sad.
I have passed every drug test that they have forced me to take. I've done nothing wrong. My relationship with my other three children is just as strong as it's ever been.
What?
They don't live with me right now, but I have court-ordered primary custody of all three of them, which means I've already gone in front of a judge for the state of Illinois and won custody of my children.
Girl, you better stop.
And the court has access to all of that. So just if there are lawyers, please, we're in housing currently. The city of Chicago has bent over backwards to be accommodating. They literally told us and the people who facilitated this housing that as soon as the baby is returned to our custody, they will help us to get into a family-based housing situation. No questions asked, that it will be seamless, that we have nothing to worry about. And the goal ultimately is that before the 6 months is up that we've been in this situation, we will receive an apartment. My baby is breastfeeding still, so I'm pumping. I'm pumping milk every 4 to 6 hours and saving it in a fridge, and then I bring it to him once a week, or twice a week rather. I have to pump and dump, so to speak, on Friday night and Saturday because breast milk only remains good in the refrigerator for 4 days, and we don't have a freezer to freeze it. So my visit is on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if I don't put the milk in the freezer by Wednesday, by Tuesday that I pump Friday, it goes bad. So Friday and Saturday I have to dump the milk. I get to breastfeed when I see him on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and the rest of the time I'm literally pumping and saving the milk. I need money for nursing bags to collect the milk and store the milk. I need money for Ziploc bags to keep the milk fresh once it's in the nursing bags. I'll show you, I use these kinds of nursing bags. So I pump and I put the milk in here, and then I put it in one of these gallon storage bags. These cost about $15 every 2 weeks. These cost about $4 or $5 every 2 weeks. I really desperately need money to continue purchasing him clothes. I bought him about 40 pieces of clothing
You will always
before
need
he was
money.
born. I bought him a car seat. I'll show you. A car seat, a stroller, a bed, a little bassinet bed, and everything before he was born. So I was completely prepared for him before he was born.
No, you were not completely prepared for him. No, you were not. I mean, if you would not be living in a freaking tent, sleeping on the floor. You would be going and getting prenatal care like you're supposed to. You wouldn't be huffing or doing any types of freaking drugs. Heather, what do you mean? You don't have a job. You don't have a house. You don't have a home. You were not prepared at all. And you had, I feel like it's been a year. I mean, even before you got pregnant with him, this is ridiculous. You deep down don't want to change. You like not having responsibilities. You're always going to need money. That's why people get a source of income, like a job, something stable.
Prepared for him before he was born. I have everything he needs, but regardless of what's going on, I like to bring him to the visit a new outfit every week. I only have 2 more new outfits left. I have a phenomenal resume. I have, like I said, several years in the healthcare, experience at Northwestern, experience at an optical eye doctor place doing visual field testing and other optical exams, optical purchasing, so buying designer frames and sales in those capacities, billing, coding, medical law and ethics, a lot of experience in HIPAA, which is Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. I've also taken classes and continue to take classes in AI, cybersecurity, entry-level, Python, computer programming language. I'm currently taking a sort of self-taught course from a book that was written by one of my mutual friends on LinkedIn about ChatGPT for any of my AI people. Just getting more familiar with ChatGPT and AI, just so that I can be indispensable and so that I can, find a way to support my family. But despite my resume being stellar and all of the letters of recommendation that I have, and the fact that I could pass a drug test any given day, and the fact that I have been completely compliant,
You still do dusting?
and the fact that I have also been incredibly abused, I don't see much of a change. We're in this shelter, thank God, rather than being in a tent. But I'm not being permitted to earn my own income. My children are supposed to live with me by court order, and that's not being permitted either. So I really need a lawyer, you guys. And please, if if you guys know me in real life, please, you know what's true.
Oh my gosh.
Please don't allow the online slander to get into your heads.
Wow.
I swear to God, I would give one of my limbs to have this situation resolved.
Bullshit.
I just want to be there for my children, whether that's, in poverty or in riches. I just want to be there for my babies. So that's about it for the update. I think it's really important that I do these periodic updates just so that, the truth can be documented somewhere. And as I said, if you guys could direct message me or email me, or even comment on one of my posts, if you have any sort of connection to social rights activism groups, civil rights groups. I've done everything, you guys. I've emailed WGN, I've emailed ABC7, I've emailed NBC, Channel 5, I've emailed Fox News, I've emailed ABC, I already said ABC, I've emailed Channel 2 CBS, I've emailed CNN, I've sent them all the proof that everything I say is true, and I've given them everything that I have, copies of everything. I paid a subscription service to get access to entertainment lawyers for all of the most famous entertainers like Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Joe Rogan, who else? There's 30 of them that I emailed. Kevin Hart.
Girl, you.
Who are some of the big ones? I'm trying to think.
How does...
Whatever. Just I went on this website and they give you the top 500 most known celebrities and their entertainment lawyers, and you pay a subscription fee and they give you the email address to those lawyers that those entertainers use. And I've emailed all of this to all of them, celebrities and their entertainment lawyers, and you pay a subscription fee and they give you the email address to those lawyers that those entertainers use. And I've emailed all of this to all of them, begging for assistance. It's just not right what's going on, and there's nothing I wouldn't do to be with my children, and I'm just being slandered and libeled, and the truth is being presented in so many ways, I translated the truth to Spanish and literally started circulating it to Maluma and older bachata and reggaeton people Ozuna and J Balvin and just all these random people, just because if law enforcement, the local authority, the state's attorney, the attorney general, the district attorney, if none of that is working and local celebrities aren't working, I don't know where else to go, and I can't just give up and let my children suffer. My children need their mom. So my name is Heather Gillespie. Thank you so much. If you know me in real life, please advocate for me. You know me. If you know me, you know me. If you know, you know. So if you would like to donate, you can do so via Cash App. You know me. If you know me, you know me. If you know, you know. So if you would like to donate, you can do so via Cash App. Please don't just send money to whatever Cash App someone tells you I have. Go to my one and only story, either here on Facebook or on Instagram. The only Instagram that I have active right now, that I use for personal use, not for business. I have several that I use for business. The only one that's my actual personal blog is HG1V Law. And that's an acronym that starts with the first letters of my children's names. Viviana, Lewis, Alexis, Weston. HG1V Law. Is it HG1V Law or 1HGV Law?
All the questions for Xavier.
Can you check?
Yeah.
I'll post it on my wall. I'm just having a total brain fart right now. I don't know if it's HG1V Law or 1HGV Law. But anyways, you guys, I don't want to pressure anyone for money that you guys don't have or stress anyone's situation out. But if there's any way, if you have anything extra at the end of the day, $1 is even appreciated. I would be incredibly grateful. Literally, since this started in 2019, you guys and these donations have been the only way I'm even paying my phone bill. So I very much appreciate your assistance, and if you have employment, I would gladly accept it. I have a stellar resume, numerous letters of recommendation, And my experience, as I said, is in sales, healthcare, marketing, medical law and ethics, new business development, social media marketing and growth. I'm fantastic at social media strategy. So there's really nothing I can't do. Please give me an opportunity, put me to the test. Like, I will exceed your expectations every single time. I don't understand why I'm in this position. And if I were someone, like, I'd probably be judging me too if I wasn't me actually living through it. But I am me, and I am living through it. And it's crazy, you guys. I need help, and I really need advocacy, and I need support. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you guys have a great day. And again, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it.